The first thing I'm going to say about this is that there are going to be spoiler alerts out of the butthole. And so, if you were in here at any point in time, oh my word, hold on just a second. I forgot to mute my, oh crap, hold up. Okay, good. I muted the YouTube there. So we're gonna be spoiling the crap out of this. So if you're in here and you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to know what happens, you better leave. And I'm gonna say that like 20 times because here it comes. Anyways, it's Sunday Fun Day, people. I hope everybody's doing well with my best friend ever, Drunk 3PO. What's going on, man?
What's up, bro? How's it going?
Life is good. Life is grand. I can't complain one bit. Went and oh, look at this. Charles, Charles, you're on the wrong page, brother. You were
Black Widow dies. It's spoiled. Boom.
nailed it. See, at least I didn't spoil it this time. So, Charles, I think you're seeing it tomorrow, aren't you? This is not the place for you to be. I even put spoiler alert in all caps right there in the title. Jaws died also.
A true statement. That's a true statement.
That is. So I went and saw Avengers last night, and
it's a lot to process, isn't it, buddy? It's a lot to process.
Yeah. By the way, anybody listening, is there any kind of an echo going on when anybody talks here? Be sure to let us know in the chat. Goodbye. Woke, what's up? So,
how do we sound, Mary? How do we sound? Do we sound good? No. Before we continue, so maybe we have to fix this.
Yeah, there's a drunk echo. I told you. This is the problem with being on location. On location is a great thing if you do it the right way.
That's because Jesse's mic is too close to me.
Well, that's a problem you're going to have to deal with. It's the way it is. So, I think I figured it out. It's because I'm not muting my mic. So whenever I talk and you start talking, I'm going to mute because I'm picking up your voice two different ways.
Okay. Can you still hear me though? If I do it this way, can you still hear me? Okay.
I can still hear you. You're whispering. I can still hear you. You're fine. Fine. Don't you worry. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll pull out of this just fine. Giggity.
All right, continue.
Okay, so first off, Drunk, let me ask you. You saw this movie opening night. I was about to go with you, but because I wanted to save my marriage and not have my wife divorce me for not seeing it first with her, I had to decline the invitation. What was your thought in the movie? How much did you like this movie? Was it just give me your synopsis. How did you like this movie?
Okay, so I personally gave it a 9.8 out of 10. I put this on the love factor, and I really think it had to do with the fact that when I went on opening night, the theater that I went to had people dressed up in costumes. There was electricity. Everybody was screaming. Everybody was yelling. I think it really helped. I think it really helped me enjoy the film because I was around hundreds of people that all enjoyed it with me. The crowd in my theater was so jump. I mean, they were screaming. They were hollering. One of my favorite parts was when Black Panther showed up and people everywhere in the theater, almost in unison, just screamed Wakanda forever. I don't know. It was just so cool. It was such a cool moment. There was people crying in the theater when some of the heroes died. I mean, my goodness, it was just one of those things. And I made a huge mistake. I ordered a super giant slushy red cherry flavor. And by the time that first credit scene hit, I was gone. So I didn't stay for any end credit scenes. I had to hit the head.
Yeah, ironically, I had a super big cherry slushie too. It was great too. But it was now I didn't because I didn't go on opening night. I didn't have. Hold on just a second. I need to take a little sip of my whiskey here. See, you guys don't know that I'm sitting 10 feet away from drunk. That's why we have a thing and a little echo, and we're both drinking cinnamon Fireball whiskey right now, and it's decadent.
So, yeah, it's very tasty.
Yeah, it is. It tastes like heaven and burns like that. So it was the same. It was the same in my theater, except for the fact nobody was dressed up, but people were hooting and hollering all over the place, and I was in with it. I could not believe it. Like whenever the Black Panther came up, I've not really been secretive of the fact that I've not been the biggest fan of Black Panther as a movie, but excuse me, but he has lent himself amazingly to the Avengers and to these movies. And when he came in, and especially whenever his army came in, oh my word, there chills all over the place, man. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was a special moment. It was a special. Some of the other, I think that was the highlight, one of the highlight moments for me when that they figured out how to recreate another huge army scene, battle scene that we saw in Infinity Wars, and this time it involved every freaking hero from every single movie that we've ever seen in the last 10 years showed up to fight against Thanos and his people. And it just was a cool scene. And after all is said and done, it ended with the guy who started it and the guy who tried to end it, Thanos and Iron Man.
Yeah, that was just prophetic, I guess. It was like everything. I remember talking to you the first. I remember talking to you like after the first time you saw it. Like, if there's one thing that happens, is it brings pretty much everything together from the last 10 years of Marvel. It just winds it all up, and just everything is resolved right in this story. And it was man, right there, and especially right there whenever it started with Iron Man, it started with Thanos. Boom, that was just it hit me in the feels too. Hit me in the feels.
So, did you think when it was just Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man fighting Thanos? I thought Captain America was going to die. Like I thought his shield got messed up. Thor looked like he was about to get, cut in two with the axe. Iron Man was knocked unconscious pretty much. And it was just Captain America and Thanos. And I was like, this is it. This is it for Cap. But that's when, Doctor Strange opened up all the portals and freaking Captain America picks up the hammer. Holy crap.
Oh, dude, I cannot even tell you. I can't even tell you the joy it brought to my heart. Like I knew it was going to be bad. I was like, I mean, Thanos. He's just like he punches things and they explode. He looks at somebody wrong and they just fall to ash. It is he's like the most powerful of anybody I've ever. I mean, anybody ever, as far as bad guy goes, especially. And I knew it was going to end up badly whenever Captain America's new shield, because he gets that new shield right there from Tony Stark, and they make nice and everything after the last few movies. They hadn't really been the best of friends. And then he's like, "Here you go, man. I got this for you," and stuff. And it gets broken in the same movie. It's like, dude, something's not going to happen. And I was always expecting Captain America to die. I was sad. I thought he was going to die too. I was like, this is too early in the movie. But whenever he comes back and has the hammer, oh, that was one of those choke up moments right
Yeah,
there.
people applauded, man. They were screaming when you saw the hammer move, and I was like, now who's picking that up? Is it? I mean, the other guy that's picked up the hammer is Vision. He's picked up the hammer very easily, and so I was like, I think he's gone. Like, I don't think he didn't get snapped. He just got ripped apart. So I don't think he's back. So when Captain America had the hammer in his hand, like my theater went bonkers. And then to hear Thor go, I knew it. I knew you had it all along. Now, just a little tease for those that listen or listen later. The reason why Captain America was able to pick up the hammer in this film and not the other ones was if you saw Thor, Thor let himself go. He wasn't worthy of really, like, he was on the verge of not being worthy to hold the hammer. If you remember the first Thor, he was a party guy. He wasn't worthy of picking up the hammer. He had to earn that right. So there was a little thing where he's just not as worthy to hold it, but so Captain America was able to pick it up fully. And we see Thor at the end of this game. He has nothing. He ain't got the hammer no more. He's just hanging out with Guardians of the Galaxy guys, just trying to find himself. And he still has his beer gut at the end, which means I have the exact same body type as Thor, and I'm very happy about that.
I'm really excited for you. You've come into your own, and I want you to know how proud of you I am that you now have the body of Thor. And so, Drunk, more power to you, brother. I'm so happy for you. You have become Thor-like in your own right, and I couldn't be more pleased. Okay, so I was totally pumped about that, and I love this movie to the point where it was not quite as good to me as Infinity Wars. It was just a couple points off, just a couple tenths of a point off of.
Many people are agreeing with you because Infinity Wars was like one of the few, if not the only, movie where the bad guy actually wins. You know, like usually the time in superhero movies, the bad guy has his moments, but the good guys always figure out how to win. And Infinity Wars was one of those films where they just couldn't stop the bad guy. They could not stop him with what no matter what they did, they couldn't stop him. And so it's such a unique film that, you know, it was just, yeah, Infinity Wars is amazing. And again, it was such a unique film where the bad guy was just like, you can't stop him. And you didn't know how they were going to stop
The bad guy. They couldn't have chosen a better bad guy. I mean, I think
Thanos was great.
Thanos, like, when I think DC, the bad guy of bad guys in DC is like the Joker. It's like there's nothing in DC that can top this dude as far as bad guys. And then all of a sudden, that is what I would call the MCU's Joker right there. It's just not. I mean, I can't think of a bad guy right now that can touch what Thanos is.
You mean Steppenwolf didn't do it for you?
Oh, he was so good. Oh my word, he was so close. But he was no, he didn't do it for me. Steppenwolf, nah. But so I'm gonna give everybody in this chat, if you're here and you're listening, I want you to take this as a life lesson as to why whenever you have something that is idiotic, you just need to shut the hell up. Okay? So the one thing that held me back from enjoying this movie was the fact that Brie Larson was in it. Brie Larson, not Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. Okay? Now, here's what I mean, and I'm sure most everybody in here hopefully can agree with me. All right? If it hadn't been for Brie Larson and her fat, stupid mouth before this movie started, I would have had no problem with the way Captain Marvel did her thing. When she brought in her troop of female warriors and just cleared a path, it was obvious that was their girl power feminist moment because of everything that Brie Larson said. And anybody that knows me has heard me rant and rave about the fact that if you're going to do that, don't let the story suffer because of it or whatever. Don't make it just a point to check off so that you can appease somebody. All right. I mean, I was pissed off enough that the very first face I had to see besides Tony Stark's was hers. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the movie, she comes back with this South Korean lesbian haircut. She might as well have just dyed that all purple and then saved us all the trouble. But on my word, it was I couldn't even. If it wasn't for Brie Larson and the fact that she ran her mouth in all of these interviews. By the way, what is she talking about? Oh, I did my own. What stunts did she do? What stunts did she do?
That's a great point. Now that I think about it, she said she did stunts like better than Tom Cruise, but all she did was float around. So maybe she was just on a cable and that is considered her own stunt. I don't know. That's weird. I did find it funny that Rocket, the raccoon, said you look like Justin Bieber. That was
Yes, sir.
that was great.
Man, I'm telling you what. So, Brie Larson, if you ever listen to this, shut up, please. Just shut up because you spoiled the movie. You ruined it. You ruined it. It could have been better than Infinity Wars, and because of you, it's not better than Infinity Wars. My wife almost punched me. I'm sitting there watching the movie, and every time she came on, every no,
The chat the chat says it perfectly. She doesn't have America's ass.
no, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. Oh man, I'm not going to go into what kind of ass she has, but I feel like if I tried to smack her ass, all I'd be is just getting a fluff. It's like hitting a pillow. It's just.
I don't even know if I give her that. More be like if you're driving down the street and somebody has a flat tire. It's just kind of like that's it.
Yep, I would agree. So everybody, just know that if you have something stupid to say before a big event, don't say it. Don't say it because you're gonna have that that follow you around forever. Anyways, that's my rant on Brie Larson. I'm not going to go on because I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing about how much she sucks. And she didn't act well. She didn't act well. It's not like she had to do much anyway. You know all the stunts she did and everything.
No, she acted. I mean, she had her little. Let's go get Thanos. Let's go kill him. You didn't have me. I'm the one. I can do it. I can do this. And it just was. And it was sad because I think I knew going in that Captain Marvel would be the one to save Tony Stark in the beginning, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I might as well expect it. It's gonna happen. So it happened. But the good news is a 3 hour and like 10-minute film. She's only in the movie 10 minutes.
Yep.
So
And I got to see her get punched. That was cool. I really enjoyed that part. I did clap a little bit. So
she got our theater clapped when she got punched. They really like there was a laughter. Like a laughter kind of clappish thing, and I was like, "Oh snap!" So it was kind of funny.
not calling
Little lazy writing there. A little lazy writing.
Avenger. RevCav, what's up? I didn't get to say hey to Matt Vader. Brian Young, good to have you in, bro. Like having Brian Young in here. And, and Matt Vader, all you guys that are still in there, thanks for hanging out. I hope we're not spoiling your afternoons or whatever, but I appreciate you hanging out. We're sitting here sipping whiskey, watching basketball, and talking about probably the best movie of the year so far, in my personal opinion. Pound the like button while you're at it. Gingerly pound the like button, if you will. So I was pretty pumped about that. How'd you like the way they made the Hulk?
Um, I I liked it. That's the Hulk in the comic books. In some of the newer comic books, that's what the Hulk was like. It made the Hulks. The funny thing is when they went back in time to New York from Avengers 1, and they're like, "Hey, you're supposed to be like dumb Hulk." He was just kind of walking around like smashing the car, like, okay, here,
Oh, I
and
was
then
laughing
like,
a lot there. That was great.
and then they had to like they didn't want they take the Hulk's pictures, but they didn't want Ant-Man's photo. That was kind of funny in
Yeah.
that one scene, but I thought they did okay. I for some reason in the comic book, Hulk does put on the Infinity Gauntlet, and the exact same thing happens. He gets like halfway burned up his arm and stuff. Um, and I think they did that well, just to so Hulk snapped everyone back to life, and then Tony snapped all the bad guys to death. So obviously it shows the Infinity Stones is you think what you want. If you have them all, you just kind of think what you want it to be done with the snap, and that's that.
Yeah.
Matt Vader asked, "What happens to Tony?" Well,
Tony dies. Spoiler alert, you should have read the title. Tony dies. If you didn't know, Tony dies. But so what was a part that took you by surprise? Was there anything that you're like, oh my word, I didn't really see this coming?
Black Widow. Black Widow dying really shook me. If honestly, if Hawkeye would have sacrificed himself, I would have been like, okay, that sucks. And I get it. He lost his family and he would do anything to bring his daughter back and all that stuff. So that yeah, so that was one thing. But the fact that they fought it out to see who would sacrifice himself, I just thought they would have figured out a different way. Like my wife was like, what about Red Skull? I was like, you have to sacrifice something you love. So it was only fitting that they were there together. And man, when Black Widow died, that was like, oof, that was hard
Yeah, I
because I
told
loved Black Widow, and I was hoping that she would be with Brie Larson in the next phase with women. And nope, we're getting rid of all the old characters.
oh yeah,
Done.
oh yeah, and it's like wouldn't it have sucked if like two people showed up at the same place and didn't really care for each other? It's like, well, that sucks. Now we can't go on with this stuff. That's
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
but but yeah, that was a
I didn't expect Black Widow to die at all. Like that was like not. I think if you would have bet that on Vegas, that would have been the longest shot. If you
yeah
would have took all the original Avengers and said who would die, you have one shot. I think Black Widow would be the last. Matt Vader says no straight white chicks going forward. That's probably a true statement, Matt.
yeah, that's probably true. That one shook me up as well, man. Whenever she had to, I remember turning to my wife. It took her like 5 minutes to get her hands from over her mouth because she was just, I mean, she was in shock. I was in shock. I cried a little bit during that movie. If anybody knows me, I especially made a video a couple months back where I was like, I cry a lot during movies. I can't help it. I'm a sensitive guy, so bite me. I don't care if you don't like it, bite me. I cry during movies, but I cried at that part for sure. Now, were you expecting going into this? Were you expecting the death to be on? I knew either Tony Stark or Cap was going to end up getting it. Who did you have your bets on going into this movie?
At first, I had Captain because I figure Tony would have a wife and kid, and they wouldn't do that, but they used the wife and child at the beginning to make his death more hard. And then I kept thinking that they would have to go back to the Soul Stone place to bring people back, and I thought it would be Thor who would die because I know in the comic books a woman, so Valkyrie's going to pick up where Thor left off, and I get that, and then Thor had nothing else to live for. His mom and dad are dead. His people are dead. There's no more Asgard. He's got nothing. He doesn't have a wife, doesn't have children. He just doesn't care. And in the way they portrayed him in the film, I was like, yeah, he'll probably just die because he's out of shape. He's got a beer belly. He's playing Fortnite. I mean, like, why would you keep him around for nothing? So I had like those two were the ones. Captain is the most noble. If like all the Avengers were standing around, they go, who would sacrifice himself? Cap already proved that he would sacrifice himself over everybody. But actually, my one prediction came true. I called that Cap would go back in time and stay back in time. I did that on my live stream. Yep, I was very proud of that. 1 out of 100. So I'm really winning the lottery here.
I thought that was really good. Like he's earned. Like he's done everything. I think kind of most all of the Avengers at one point in time have kind of just thrown caution to the wind about something or another and been like, "Yep, the world's this way or whatever. We just got to do whatever." And Cap is he's always tried to stay. I guess he's always tried to take the moral high ground, and it's just he's seemed to have been the one to earn. He seemed to have been the one to earn for me, and I kind of thought it was going to be Thor too, but I didn't call Thor until the beginning of the movie when I saw like what he had turned into. Just I thought it was going to be like a redemption type of death for him. It's like he's
Thor.
just yeah for Thor. He's just kind of let himself go. He's not really giving a rip about anything, and then all of a sudden he realizes, he's been a little bit of he's just wallowed in his own self pity, and he's like, I got to really get my honor back type deal. I'll tell you what though, for a fat guy, he sure could move. He didn't miss a step.
There is a little sneaky spoiler thing where Loki escapes New York with the Tesseract Stone, and that never was really resolved.
I was thinking about that too. I was literally thinking about that. This did not, I mean, because they came in and they went back in time and they made this one little mistake. Thor got the Tesseract. He's gone. He's gone with it. But at the same time, though, well, no, they just went back further in time. That's so that wouldn't have made sense. But now that he's got the Tesseract, I was somewhat expecting or hoping for some way or another. It's like, dude, there are still these guys out there. There's still Vision that got his junk pulled out of his head, and there's still Loki and everything with the snap bringing them back. But they didn't, because they didn't get whisked away with the snap, so they couldn't get brought back with the snap either. But now that Loki has the Tesseract, that has changed that's changed, and so that could be something something to look forward to in future MCU movies for sure.
Loki is going to be on a Disney Plus show. Is that what you were saying, Matt? I believe I did hear that. So that's how they kept him alive. The way they did the time travel, anything, it's weird because basically I thought it was funny how they said, back on YouTube now, Eng Game out. Yeah. Yeah, Lonely, we're supposed to do a stream together, buddy. Just send me a message, man. I'd love to do an Eng Game stream with you, bro. Just let me know. But the way they did the time travel was, I loved it that they referenced when they were talking to the Hulk. They were like, Hulk's like, how do you know about time travel? And they go Back to the Future, Terminator, just about every movie on time travel. And then Hulk was like, no, it doesn't work that way. And so now that he doesn't work that way, we could be seeing a totally new way of how time travel is worked and perceived, and the way for whatever reason people call it plot holes or whatever, the way that everything was all kind of messed up in the time travel. I mean, almost anything and everything could happen. So yeah, they even mentioned hot tub time machine. That was great. And anything and everything could happen. Probably, I believe they did that on purpose, just in case the new phase of Marvel is doing poorly and they need to bring back characters to like boost it back up again. We do know for sure that Tony Stark is dead. Black Widow is not coming back. But that's about it, because Gamora went into the future. And I don't know if Gamora was snapped away. I don't know, where is Gamora? Why is Gamora? Who is Gamora? Like, that's going to be I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of Gamora. I really feel like we haven't seen the last of her.
Absolutely. I'll get to the live chat real fast. First off, Proper, how's it going, man? Good to have you in. Also, Lonely Banter, good to see you here, man. I'm glad everybody is hanging out with us. But yeah, it was an emotional roller coaster, especially when he went back in time and Gamora didn't recognize him whenever past Gamora had finally caught back up with him and everything. It was absolutely awesome. But yeah, Vision, I'm telling you what, I think probably my favorite female Avenger. Black Widow's up there, but I love Scarlet Witch.
She's awesome.
She is solid, man. I absolutely love Scarlet Witch, and she really opened up. She really opened up in this one, and like Scarlet Witch, and even Doctor Strange. He didn't have much time in here, but I love how like he went from his solo movie where he's still just kind of learning his magic and everything, and all of a sudden, Infinity Wars and Eng Game drops, and he just It's like he doesn't have a limit. That guy can wail with his magic, man. He is humongous with his magic stuff. I love seeing how powerful he could be, and also Scarlet Witch.
I mean, the one thing this movie did do, in my opinion, was they gave all of the superheroes their moment. Whether it was like 20 seconds or 15 minutes, they gave them a moment that was awesome. Even Scarlet Witch, she came in and she's like, I'm gonna kill Thanos, you know, and then Thanos had to like rain all the missiles on and kill half his army and take out a bunch of people from his end and all that stuff as well, just to be freed from Scarlet Witch. But
Yeah.
then I'm sorry, man. I think the downfall of the film was when the big ship like started shooting out into outer space, and I'm like, what the heck? And it's just Captain Marvel, and she just flies through the ship and blows it up, and I'm like, that's. I'm sorry, that sucked.
Was that reminiscent at all of The Last Jedi to you? At that moment, I was like, oh man, somebody just light speeded their way through the mothership or whatever. I was like, good God.
Yeah,
Yeah, there were a couple. There were a couple moments in there that were kind of a little bit The Last Jedi-ish, and it was just I cringed a little bit with them, but I still kept going for sure. And it's like as soon as they started firing off into the distance, I knew what it was because I was sitting there thinking to myself, I had this thought where I'm watching Scarlet Witch do her thing and just whoop up on Thanos, and I'm like, this is so awesome. Captain Marvel's not even here, and 3 minutes later, there she is, and my night was ruined almost.
does anybody in the chat have any theory on Gamora? Because I'm not. I'm just curious on because she shows up and sees Quill, kicks him in the nads, and she's like, "Ew, that's the guy I fall in love with." And then that's like, that's that. I do love the fact that Tony got to like meet his dad and like hug his like going through the like all that stuff. I thought was just wonderful fan service that just made us appreciate the characters even more before their end.
Oh
And
man, I love that fact. It's like there were a few times where Tony Stark got to meet and hang out with his dad for a little bit. Um, oh man, and Cap got to see Margaret again, and hang out with her, and those were definitely catching moments from there. I think probably one of my favorite things is like, and this is actually pretty genius. I saw not only excuse me, not only with this movie, but how they did with Infinity Wars is you have the major players of the Avengers, the Thors, the Hulks, and the Captain Americans and stuff. They really played to some of the more minor players. Like Ant-Man was the big player in this one, and he's just got two solo movies out, and then you had Doctor Strange was the main guy of the last one. It's like everything rested on Strange in the first movie. He only had one movie, but this is like at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, you saw that leading into him where he went into the quantum realm right before the people fell into ash. You knew that was going to be a big thing for those of you guys that haven't seen that movie.
yeah, but this the snap. I am Iron Man. Boom. And the thing is, Thanos knew he was like dead. He was like, oh, he snapped. I might as well just say he just kind of sat there and dusted away. I was like, that sucks. No, it's so yeah, it's okay.
Okay, I got it. Yep. I was typing. I hadn't typed in the chat for a little bit. I just like talking on it. Matt. Anyway, Matt, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate you hanging out for a little bit and everything. Yeah, but it was everybody had their parts, and I'm telling you what, that is MCU. That is a genius idea on their part, keeping people interested in these other solo movies because I mean they all tie into this major story and just oh my word, it was great.
I mean, the first 5 minutes of the film just they hit you with that tearjerker with Hawkeye's family, And then yeah, I could see where people were like, it's a little slow at the beginning, but they were just trying to get like show life after the snap. It was like 5 years later. Um, but I mean, it was just a little weird because Thanos said he destroyed the stones, but then like the Ancient One said without the stones, time would be all screwed up, and so I mean, people are complaining there's some plot holes, but yeah, I mean, anytime you have a time travel movie, you can nitpick like you can nitpick a lot of stuff and try to find, you can find a lot of plot holes, but I just think it was just beautiful. The Captain America fighting Captain America was awesome, I thought.
Oh yeah, dude, I loved watching the Captain Americas go at it with each other. And let me rephrase that. I loved watching. I loved, I loved watching Captain Americas fight each other. They really turned it up a notch, and they just laid into each other like they should have been, and that was really really cool. Um, but yeah, I was with the Hulk. I know that was kind of the way he was, comic bookish and everything. It was still, I don't know that I was still 100% happy with him. It was he
They
didn't.
didn't really explain it. He was just like, what happened? He goes, up. I just me and Hulk just fused, and that's that. And like that was it. That was their response.
That's exactly what I was thinking. There was no explanation for it. I mean, you kind of saw it. It's like because the Hulk was being a little bit of a vag in Infinity Wars, and then he's finally here, but now he and Bruce are just kind of the same thing. Um, but but yeah, I was kind of like, it's not the same Hulk, but it's like they kind of reinvented a couple of the characters anyways. They did that with Thor, and they made him a pretty much a Norwegian guy or a Scandinavian guy, like where he comes from. They grew his beard. I did like his look though. I did like they grew his beard out really long. He gave him some good long hair and stuff. A lot of respect for long beards. But they gave him a really Icelandic Scandinavian thing where the myths of Thor and Loki and all that stuff come from.
Well, I love the fact that Valkyrie was introduced again because you didn't see her in Infinity Wars, and she was kind of introduced. And so, do you think Valkyrie, in moving forward in the next phase, is she going to be carrying the hammer? Is she going to be the one worthy of the hammer, and she's going to represent, Thor and all his powers moving into the next phase?
I wonder. I wonder what would happen because in the comics there's more than one hammer in there. I believe there's like 6 or 7 different hammers. They can go a lot of different directions with Thor's storyline. Not only just with Thor, but with Valkyrie as well. And seeing if she got a hammer of her own, or something along those lines. I think because Thor is already awesome and a great fighter in himself, but it's like everybody kind of has this one thing that makes them the niche. Tony Stark and Iron Man have the suit. Thor has his hammer. Hulk has his green look and everything. Valkyrie, right? I think Valkyrie needs to have that one thing to kind of solidify her reign as the main one, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's possible. It'll be interesting to see how they move forward because there was no end credit scene. They just left it kind of somber after Tony's funeral, and that was really sad. And if you noticed, Brie Larson was standing by herself at the
Good. That's
funeral.
where she needed to be by herself and alone. And I'm glad they left her alone because she sucked. That was cool to see. That was cool to see. Nick Fury walk up. I bet Samuel L. Jackson got $850,000 for that one little scene.
Yeah, that's about it.
Um, but dude, nice shot. So, so we're sitting here watching the NBA.
Yeah, lonely banter. We're like watching the playoff game while we're talking about End Game at the same time. So, which is probably what you're doing too, because he's a big time basketball guy.
But yeah, I think it would be really cool to see where Valkyrie goes. I loved the funeral scene. The funeral scene was a huge huge tear jerking moment for me. Like everybody's there, everybody's paying their respects, and then here comes Pepper Potts putting his heart proof that Tony Stark has a heart. And I was like, dude, Iron
The
Man won all
cheeseburgers,
over the
yeah.
place. Yeah, I really I really wanted a cheeseburger after I left. That would have been totally fitting for going to see that movie.
Um, do we think? See, in the comic books, Iron Man has had an assistant, was a young black woman, and she ends up becoming her own version of Iron Man, and she takes over for Tony as he kind of aged out. But the way it looks here, it looks like Pepper Potts might be the one who might get called to do a not I don't think she'll have a solo film. Who knows? But she could be used in some of the films going forward. I don't know. What do you think?
It was, to be honest, I was not as excited to see Pepper Potts in a suit. I wasn't. She hasn't. It's like, where has she been in any of these movies helping out, except for in Iron Man 3, when she all of a sudden comes back after they battle the Mandarin, and then all of a sudden it's like she's been doing this for years and years and years. She was barely in Infinity Wars. I don't even remember. Did I see her in Infinity Wars, or were they just talking on the phone?
Yeah, she was in the beginning walking with Tony
Oh yeah, yeah.
when Doctor Strange interrupts them. They were talking about their wedding. The Lonely Banter says Gwyneth Paltrow says she is done. Okay, well that will answer that one.
Yeah, that's that's a simple call for that one too. Um, Rookie critic, hey sluts, how you doing? What's up, Rook? I love that intro. Um, but yeah, I wasn't too pleased to see Pepper to see Pepper all suited up, battling it out. Is she flew around like she's been doing this for ages? And who was it that she talked to Spider Man for a little bit? It's like, hey kid, or something like that. I was like, shut up.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. I know she was gonna be. So I thought she was gonna be the one that saves Tony in her suit for some reason, but because photos leaked of her in that Pepper Potts suit like right after Infinity Wars, photos leaked of her in that suit. So I knew she was gonna be in it somehow in some way. So, but if she says she's done, she's done. I'm just saying, if the next phase doesn't attract the same kind of like audience that this phase is, they'll call some of these old people back. I'm telling you, just watch.
How dedicated are you going to be to the next phase of MCU?
Um, I probably won't go see Spider-Man. I don't know. It's just weird. Like everything, it just felt like this movie felt like I closed the book, and I don't know if I want to pick it up again. So if if they have a couple films and it tweaks my interest, I'll probably go see it. But man, this movie just did some damage for me as far as like the book's closed and that the only one that is piquing my interest right now is Guardians of the Galaxy because of the Gamora factor and Thor. To
I was
see if
about to
Thor
say,
is going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 as the surfer guy would be hilarious. Like that would be something I would be interested to see. I probably will watch the next Black Panther film. I really love the first Black Panther. So when they make the second one, I'll probably see that. But I was definitely heavily invested in these 10 years and I saw all the films in the theater. I saw Ant-Man like 3 times and Black Panther twice. Heavily invested. And since 2008, God, 2008.
I know it's been
We're
forever.
old.
It's been forever. Um, it is. I mean, it is a nice little trip down memory lane, I guess. Though, with that, but you're right. You know, this movie, this movie closed the book for me, and I've already had my Brie Larson rant session earlier, um, but because of she did more damage, I think, for me than anything. I'd already, it was no secret. Rhodes Rants, what's up, man? And it was just, prior to this, it's been no secret that I've been a little bit burned out on Marvel films. I mean, it's so much. They just poured so many into them, and it's just, I mean, one after the other, and it's, I just got a little bit burnt out on it, and now that everything is absolutely, finished. Tony Stark is absolutely dead. Vision is absolutely dead. Black Widow is absolutely dead. It's like I just don't know if I want to go on. Captain America's not coming back or anything like that. They're going to have to really pull something spectacular out to pique my interest again, like I was before.
Well, the um the thing is, the characters that they used are pretty much known characters. Most people know Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America. Iron Man now is definitely a known character, but probably wasn't as popular as some of the others. But now, like, I don't know what I don't know what known characters they'll have. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange will probably have another film. Um, they don't have many known characters, left. Like on DC, I'm talking like casual fans. Casual fans, everybody knows who Superman is. Everybody knows who Batman's is. Everybody knows who the Joker is. But everybody knows who Wonder Woman is. Everyone knows who Spider-Man. Those the casual fans that don't know comics, that don't know anything, they know those characters. So now, like Marvel's gonna have to really do a good job in making the not so known characters become like fan favorites.
But I think they can play their cards right and do it. And I mean, I really hope they do. The one complaint that I've kind of had about the MCU movies, with the exception of a couple of them, like Ragnarok, for example, is they all seem like the humor is the same, the direction is the same, the type of feel for the movie is the same. There's a few of them that are out there that have kind of broken the mold. Guardians of the Galaxy was a little bit different, um, and everything, but I think, like I said earlier, the fact that they've played on making Ant-Man the major character of this movie, when who really heard of Ant-Man before the MCU started doing even some of his other movies, they were good and everything, but knowing that he's going to be the guy that is the key to saving Captain America, the key to saving, half of the human population and everything. That's If they play their cards right, they can work some of these just perfectly.
I agree. I agree. I agree. But yeah, they're just gonna have to. I don't know. We'll see. The Russo brothers are gone, so now they're gonna have to find some other directors to fan out the next phase. Will the next phase last 10 years? Will it last a couple of years? Are they gonna introduce a new villain to spark interest? Um, I don't know. Roserant says I have been brainstorming who would join the Avengers. Spidey is heading back to Sony. Doctor Strange would be good at to sort of take Tony's role, have Nick Fury be more involved, War Machine take a bigger role. Well, they gave Captain America's shield to Falcon, so I thought it was going to be Bucky, but looks like Falcon's going to take the helm, and I don't know. Is he going to get a Captain America outfit or?
That's an interesting thought. I don't know that they go as far as to say they're gonna. Yeah, he was an OG Avenger. Banter. Um, it would be interesting to see if they gave him a different outfit in Tony Stark's absence, for sure. I mean, but I think, oh, man, I really think I would love to see Doctor Strange do more. I loved his movie. His is one of my his was one of my favorite standalone movies. I think it was definitely that was a different feel for an Avengers movie. It was like superheroes meet Inception.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, that's true.
And I would just, and like I said, also is that even in his standalone movie, um, Doctor Strange was Doctor Strange was still kind of figuring himself out, kind of getting used to his powers and everything. And then all of a sudden, Infinity Wars, oh my word, he let loose in ways I didn't even think I could see Doctor Strange do.
Oh yeah, Doctor Strange is extremely powerful because he uses one of the Infinity Stones to do his power. But my thing is, they uh they got to find the next villain. Like that's the thing is there's Galactus, there's Beyonder, and what people don't realize that in the comics, Victor Von Doom is like one of the most powerful villains out there.
Yeah.
Even though, he's tagged a lot with Fantastic Four, but Doom is actually he's pretty powerful.
Hasn't Doom
So
crossed over to a couple different as well, or has he stayed strictly Fantastic Four?
hey, I don't think he's crossed over yet. So, but then Disney also bought the X-Men. So, how is that all gonna play? I mean, how is that all gonna work out? So,
I was talking about that last night too. I would love to. I would absolutely love to see them come up and have a good X Men crossover. I think it would almost be overkill to have all of the X Men crossover. But if somebody like Storm came over in some parts, or if they had a cameo in some things or whatever, I think that would be really really cool. And I mean, I'm looking very much forward to seeing Dark Phoenix. I think Dark Phoenix, if they had a good crossover, she'd make a great villain.
the problem with the Dark Phoenix stuff now, that was all made with Fox, and so Disney's gonna just trash all that and start over. And they have said that they would wait 5 years, 4 or 5 years, to even consider looking at X-Men. And it's all the news is saying that Brie Larson is going to lead the next phase for the next 5 years, 6, 7 years. I don't know what that'll look like. The way they hyped her up as being powerful, they're going to have to bring somebody that could just destroy her, that her power pretty pretty easily, for it to be even something worth watching. Like Thanos headbutted her and she just kind of smiled back. And then, so Thanos was not, I mean, he did have to grab the power stone to punch her, but if he didn't have that, he was just normal Thanos. According to the movie, Brie would Brie would have killed him pretty easily. So I think they got to get like Galactus or Beyonder.
Yeah, I was wondering about Galactus. I think Galactus would be a really decent guy for them to fight for sure. He'd be a great villain for the new Avengers. But just thinking about Brie Larson, what has happened to my soul? If you saw the guy's skin melt off in Raiders of the Lost Ark, that's what my skin is doing right now. Thinking about Brie Larson leading. I can't. I can't
But she
even.
did her own stunts, and she's the most powerful.
And those wire stunts are killer. Who'd have thought? She's like, guess what, guys? I held up an entire spaceship by myself in the first scene. What do you think about that, Tom Cruise? I did my own stunts by holding up a spaceship.
And I put Grimace in a headlock.
I'm gonna be the next me. The next you is CGI. Terry, your South Korean lesbian haircut, whatever. That's what she's got.
Roseran says Russo did mention wanting to do Secret Wars, which means the Beyonder. Now, the Beyonder, where do you guys think the Beyonder ranks as far as power goes? I think he's either one or two. The Beyonder was the most powerful guy in the Secret Wars, with like every single good guy and every single bad guy fighting him at once, and he basically just blew on him, and they they just died. So if they bring the Beyonder or the Secret Wars in, that would be, they would have to add in the X-Men for sure, because the X-Men had a big part in the Secret Wars. That's for sure.
Yeah. What do you think the chances that what do you think the chances that Dormammu would come back and be a villain? Because they didn't. I mean, he only had his minions, get taken out in Doctor Strange, but he just kind of left. They didn't. Dormammu didn't really do anything. What do you think the chances are? How do you think that would play out if he actually made an appearance again?
Never know. I do know like Adam Warlock is supposed to be making an appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, whether he's a good guy or bad guy, but Adam Warlock is pretty powerful too. And so they teased him at the end credit scene at the end of Guardians 2. So Adam Warlock actually beat Thanos in the comics. So he was that powerful, and he was able to wear the gauntlet without any problems. But I don't know. It's just actually Truth Apocalypse said it correctly with the multiverse and playing out. Anything could happen out there. I agree. Like anything could happen. I think Fox did a terrible job with Apocalypse as a villain.
Yes.
I thought Apocalypse is like it's unstoppable, and yet they just made him a little weak, in my opinion. But
Apocalypse is almost on a level with Thanos, in my opinion.
yeah, if not bigger.
You're muted.
Thanos with the gauntlet.
You're backwards. I can't hear you. There you go.
Yeah, Thanos with the gauntlet. Apocalypse was pretty tough, but the movie just kind of downplayed him a little bit. But I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see. I bet Spider-Man will have a big. All he did was the monologue. Yeah,
Yeah, he did. Apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. And so Spider-Man will probably be huge at the box office, and they were smart to open it right after Endgame because people are going to be curious. So I think they'll watch that movie out of curiosity to see if anything is teased coming up next. And Drunk, how do you feel about Endgame after a few days now? I saw it again.
Yeah.
I think it's I still give it a 9.8 out of 10. Like Endgame, what Endgame did for me was like at this right now, it closed the book on these 10 years. Like it's the last chapter. And
And
I don't know, like I have no excitement for the next phase. It's almost like there's a YouTuber out called The Amazing Lucas, and he did a video on Endgame, and he basically said these 10 years were for us, and um now the next phase will be for the next generation to watch. We had 10 years and then the book is closed. And I actually at the moment I feel the same way.
I'll
I
tell you
feel,
one
I feel like the book was closed for me. So I have no excitement for the next films.
I'll tell you what that did for me though, because it was a closed book thing. Like a bunch of me knows that I went to see an action movie, but part of me feels like I went to see a drama. And I mean, because they almost invested as much into the feeling of the movie rather than the action of the movie. I mean, there were a lot of tear jerking moments in this movie. There were a lot of reflective things. A lot of times where it just kind of hits you in the gut rather than leave you on the edge of the seat. Checking out. There's no arguing that when they came back when Doctor Strange just got everybody back in and just the Wakandan army just starts marching through those portals. Oh my word, that was amazing. But I mean, when you have Brian Young exactly closed a lot of character arcs, and they closed them beautifully. But that almost because there were so many character arcs that got closed all at the same time, it gave me a feel, and I'm not complaining by the way, but it gave me a feel of it gave me a feel of a drama movie, a tear jerking drama movie in some points. But one way or the other, I think that was a good, spin. It took it, it gave me a different feeling. It gave me a different feeling in this one than I've had any of the other Marvel movies for sure.
So let me address Rhodes. Rhodes says I dropped it to 7.25 from 8. I still think WS Infinity War. What's WS and Iron Man are ahead of it? Oh, Winter Soldier. Sorry. No excitement for the new phase. You know, it's like I agree with you, Rhodes. I love the first Iron Man. I love Infinity Wars. Infinity Wars was such a unique movie where the bad guy wins that we might not see a movie like that for a long time where it was just the bad guy domination. It's hard to see that. Even in the death of like some characters in like superhero movies, the bad guy always loses anyway. Winter Soldier was a movie on its own. That movie was an incredible movie. Like it seems like they really put a lot of work into Winter Soldier. I love Civil War. I love the first Avengers movie. Thor Ragnarok is up there for me. I love that one. I love the first Thor. Thor 2. I don't really have one that I hated. Captain Marvel was just boring for me. I don't need to watch that again. And Ant-Man and the Wasp was okay. It had its funny moments. I like the first Ant-Man. I don't know. I like them all, but this one, I guess the reason why I ranked this one higher than all the others because it just put all the movies together. And I just thought the way they did it was so cool. And maybe on my second or third view, maybe it'll change. But I've only saw it once with a theater that was so excited and so hyped up and feeling the crowd's emotions from crying to cheering to like downright like standing up and screaming. It really made the movie. I never went to a Marvel film with that much excitement in there before. I don't know why. It was just like that for me in the theater. I think it really added to the excitement level for me. Um, he says, "Oh, the dog show called it the Last Jedi. The MCU drunk. Told you the other night he hated it. Yeah, listen, hey, I don't. People can hate the movie. Like I said, it. I needed a good. Am I on? I needed a really good. I wanted a good fan service film, and that's exactly what I got. I mean, I didn't want like the Star Wars trilogy that we should be having right now is a huge fan service film, in my opinion. They could have given us a cool story with the three old people, but they didn't. And I just think for me personally, I think this was a huge fan service nostalgia feel that touched on every single movie that they made. And everybody fell in love with certain parts of this film because different movies affected people differently. And that's what it was for me, man. Iron Man was the coolest, and to see him go out like that, it started with Iron Man, it ended with Iron Man, and it was fine for me. I was okay with the plot holes and time travel.
Yeah, Truth Apocalypse, what you said, it was a perfect ending, and a thank you to the fans' investments. That is absolutely 100% correct. I felt like it was a big, I felt like it was a good thank you as well. Um, you know, going to going to what Rhodes was saying as far as it wasn't the best. Um, to I would agree with you. Winter Soldier was I would say arguably one of the best MCU films. Winter Soldier, Infinity Wars, and Iron Man, I think, are probably my top three as well on that. Um, there were a few things there, and I don't think there haven't been too many that I haven't disliked either. It took me a little bit, honestly, to enjoy Ragnarok, just because of how different of a feel they gave that movie. It was just a little bit of a shock for me to see that type of a movie, but I definitely ended up enjoying it a little bit more for sure. Um, but for this one, what everybody's saying, it was a great ending, for Tony Stark. It was one of the one of the epitomes of badassery when he looked down and said, "I am Iron Man," and then snapped his fingers. I'm like, oh my word! I mean, freaking, that was great. That was absolutely great. Now here's the thing, and this is actually one thing that I'm actually kind of scared of, and I hope doesn't happen with Guardians of the Galaxy, because D, you're saying put Civil War in the top five. Here's the problem I had with Civil War. It was a good movie, but it was branded as an Iron Man or a Captain America movie, but when it was actually an Iron Man movie. I think Iron Man got more of the action, more of the story than Captain America, who's supposed to be the lead guy. It just didn't seem like it was an Iron Man movie in that respect, and I didn't like that. As much as I liked the story, I did appreciate the story. I appreciated what was happening and everything, but Civil War, I think, for that reason, that it was billed as something that it wasn't. It shouldn't have been a Captain America movie. I would have liked to have seen more of Captain America in there. I hope that it doesn't turn into, yeah, it was Avengers 2.5. I hope that Guardians of the Galaxy, doesn't turn too much into a Guardians title with Thor being a lot of what's going on. I enjoy Thor, and I'm really happy to see him together. But if he's going to be the new part of the Guardians of the Galaxy team, then make it that. No big deal. But don't leave them as two separate entities and overplay one over the other when it's not really his movie. I guess that's my thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just the all weekend long TNT, TBS, Fox, all of them were playing all the movies. Like they were just having them all on all the time, and I just let the TV run, and you're just kind of like, it's over. Like for me, I was just like, man, it's over. These movies were awesome. I remember watching them all in the theater. Yeah, Lonely Banter. I hear you. It just set up everything. Like the thing is, Civil War could have been played out over 4 or 5 films. The comic book series Civil War was like long, and it was really good. The comic book series in Civil War ended with Captain America being assassinated. So I understand what they were trying to do in Civil War to set up this great divide that comes back together. But I don't know, man. Like I every time they had Thor 2 on like TNT last night, I just watched it. So there's not a movie that I didn't really like, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where to rank it all. Like when they come on TV and there's nothing else to watch, I'll watch it, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So I don't even have like a certain ranking, because you know how it is. Like you've seen a movie like 10 times. So like Iron Man was on TV for a good minute, and you watched Iron Man over and over and over. But then all of a sudden, like one channel had like Thor 2, and I'm like, man, I haven't seen Thor 2 in maybe 3 years. So I went and watched Thor 2, and it was just like, all right, okay, here we go. So I don't know, but in our lifetime, we might not ever see something like this again, which for me makes it special. We had a story that started 10 years ago and ended, started with Tony, ended with Tony, 10 years in the making. And I don't know if we will ever see anything like that again, ever. I just don't know. And so that's why I guess I'm not super excited for the next phase. So we'll see. I don't know what they're going to do.
It's like
they top that.
Yeah, that was going to be my thing. Is they've set the bar. They've just set the bar, and it's like, are they going to try to beat out their own? Are they going to try to beat out their own awesomeness? Are they going to let it be as it is for a little bit? Are they going to go an entire new direction? Yeah, I get that for sure. So, anyways, guys, that is our talking about and spoiling in every way we know how. Avengers Eng Game. I would definitely give this movie a solid 8.5 to a 9, and I gave Infinity Wars a good 9.5, in my opinion. So I would definitely see this movie again. I would definitely own it. I would definitely recommend people to go see it. And
And if you didn't hear, it's made in one weekend, $1.2 billion ever. First movie ever to do that.
this, I just
Shattered box office records to the likes of which we've never seen. And if freaking Disney didn't screw up the Star Wars saga, they would have had 2 movies in 2019 that would have destroyed box offices. I mean, gosh, but no, they screwed up Star Wars, so it's just gonna be whatever.
does it blow your mind that you see that the same company that really sucked balls at Star Wars is doing so awesomely writing for Marvel?
Yeah, because they put the right writers and directors, and they had a plan, and they worked out the plan, and they wrote it up, and they're like, "This is what we're gonna do." It's like Disney was all over the place. They just didn't know where to do with Star Wars, and they call it the Skywalker saga, but they made Luke into a turd, and nobody knew what to do with them. It's just awful. Episode 9 will come out, and they tease so much nostalgia with Star Wars Episode 9 with the Emperor, Luke talking, but it's like too little too late. Now they're trying to wrap up 40 years of Star Wars in Episode 9 after that crap show in Episode 8. Like they're going to try to wrap up the Star Wars saga from the Phantom Menace to the Rise of Skywalker in 2 hours. I don't see it humanly possible at all. And that's for another live stream. So
Yeah,
that's for another time.
yeah, we
Lonely
could.
Banter is correct on this, though, what he said.
Yep. I was just looking at that. Let the companies do what they want. Lucasfilm. Yeah, that is exactly right, man. Lucasfilm has slipped to inferiority, unfortunately. But you're exactly right. We could go on another 2 hours about what's going on with Star Wars and what it could be, what it should be, and everything along those lines. But guys, I appreciate everybody hanging out, man. We're gonna wrap it up. Drunk, you got anything cool coming up here in the next little while?
I'll be dropping my most angry, upset Mark Hamill video today. I thought this picture, this meme picture that Mark Hamill retweeted was over, but my gosh, it seems like it's just getting started. And I've had enough of Lucasfilm talking down to Mark Hamill, so I'm working on a really, really, really angry video of the likes which you might not have ever seen. So I want to thank everybody in this chat, including you, Jesse, that has watched my videos and subscribed to my channel because I hit the monetization thing. I'm just waiting on YouTube to say, okay, here you go, you're monetized. Here's your super chats. Here's this, and I can't believe the drunk 3PO brand has gone this far. Like it really went far in such a short time, and I'm very humbled. I'm very humbled by that. So I know everyone that listening I think they're all subscribers to me. So I thank you so much. I truly am humbled by all that. So
Hey, will you give me? Can I brag on you? Are you gonna give me permission to brag on you on my channel? Can I do that?
make sure everybody leaves first, but yeah.
Okay. Okay, everybody, if you want to leave, you can, but don't. Actually, don't. I'm telling you what, if you guys need to be sure that, especially on his videos, you click the bell icon for sure. He drops a video every day, man, and it takes a special type of person to do that. The guy's dedicated to what he does. He's good at what he does, man. And on top of that, I don't know if you guys ever look at his comments and everything. Look at his Twitter feed. He gets a decent amount of hate mail sometimes, man. It is astounding. And I'm sitting back here smiling like there's no tomorrow because I'm like, dude, if you actually knew this guy and what kind of heart he had, what he's into, what makes him happy, what he's all about and stuff, these guys would be so embarrassed if they ever sat down for dinner with drunk 3PO one time, man. It's like the total opposite of anybody, any of these haters promoting out there and stuff. So you guys be sure that when you're subscribed to Drunk 3PO, man, you are subscribed to the pinnacle of YouTube integrity. What I'm going to call that.
It's the fireball talking, folks, but I'll take it.
That works, man. I'm telling you what. And yeah, I like to antagonize the robots too, and so he's got one coming up here pretty soon. And I'm actually in the next couple weeks. I'm gonna be trying to do a live stream. Um, I haven't put out any videos. I've been doing some live streams over the last couple weeks. I haven't really put out any videos though. I got on this thing where it's like, you know what? I like to do funny stuff. I like to make people laugh and everything, but I think it's time to really um, focus my channel on one good thing. And so I've been taking a lot of time to think about what I'm going to do, where I want to go with it and stuff. But in the for the foreseeable future, though, my future is going to be all involved in Game of Thrones. New episode on tonight, and then tomorrow night on this channel, 9:30. Ooh, I forgot. I need to round up some people. On my channel, 9:30 tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing a live stream going over the episode 3 of season 8 of Game of Thrones. Going to be spoiling the crap out of it, just like we did tonight, talking about everything. So if anybody in here is a good Game of Thrones fan, hit me up on the DMs on Twitter, man. I'd love to get you on with me. Last time I had Geek in Disguise on, and also got to talk with Black Angus for a little bit. So that was a good little time. So you guys hit me up, but I appreciate everybody staying tuned. You guys be blessed, all that good stuff, right? So y'all have a good night, and we will see you around the bend.